The reason we're here today is as a result of the Waldo Canyon fire. The city is working with lot owners in the burned area to talk about erosion and sediment control techniques which can be used to improve their property after they've lost their homes. And information, resources can be found on the city's website at springsgov.com, and that covers anything from flood threat to erosion control measures and best techniques. The responsibilities of the lot owner is to ensure the adequate installation and maintenance of erosion and sediment control measures on the site. The importance to make sure that they're adequate in the first place, but also to make sure that they are maintained in order to prevent any type of sediment entering into the street or leaving the site or impacting other properties around the lot. The difference between an erosion control measure and a sediment control measure boils down to this. An erosion control measure prevents any soils moving in the first place. Proper erosion control includes mulching of the site, erosion control blankets with seeding, and those prevent any type of soils moving whatsoever. Sediment control includes those items which capture the sediment on the site, and that consists of sediment basins, check dams, and erosion logs. If a homeowner is not going to rebuild on the lot and wants to return the site to original conditions, what they need to do is to provide erosion control measures like we see on this lot, and they consist of items which are per city specifications, and they include measures such as erosion control bales or erosion control logs. They also include erosion control blankets with seeding to revegetate the site, as well as some earthen berms which are built into the site if there's some significant slope in order to slow the runoff so that sediment does not leave the site. So this constitutes a site that was well done to control any type of erosion.
We're showing another example of a good application for erosion control. It's a hydroseeding method with a tackifier application put in to hold the seed to the soil so it won't wash away in a rain event. And this is approximately a 3-month product. The tackifier will hold for approximately 3 months. And down here on the lower side of the site, you can see the structural erosion control that has been done for a depression, so it prevents any runoff to adjacent property owners with the earthen berm and some of the rock that was left from the landscaping.
The best erosion control measure that anybody can achieve on their lot is to actually reinstitute vegetation onto the soils. And the reason vegetation is your best erosion control measure is that the vegetation that's above the earth dissipates the energy of the falling rain, so it does not cause the movement of soils. The root structure helps to bind the earth in place, thereby also keeping any shifting of the soils from leaving the site.
The city does not recommend the use of silt fence in the Waldo Canyon burn area due to the fact of the homeowners are going to have extensive maintenance in the future on the silt fence, and due to some of the wildlife that damages it throughout the time up here that it will be installed. It is recommended to use more erosion logs, hay bales, earthen berms for perimeter control on the lots in the Waldo Canyon area. The homeowner has 180 days to stabilize their lot from the time the foundation was removed, and that's in conjunction with regional buildings codes of it's not from when the permit was pulled, it's from when the foundation was actually removed from the site.
If a homeowner's contractor damages any of the concrete to include the sidewalk or the curb and gutter in front of the lot during the work that is being done on the site, the homeowner is the best person to know what the concrete condition was before the construction began and even before the fire occurred. And they can determine what needs to be repaired. If the owner does not have the contractor make those improvements to correct any damage to the concrete, then the owner is obligated to provide those repairs.
If the homeowner is going to rebuild right away, there's going to be more temporary erosion control that takes place rather than if the lot's going to sit for quite some time, then there'll be more permanent erosion control. If they're going to rebuild right away, there'll be more of the erosion logs and perimeter controls, not necessarily the revegetation, because the builder's going to come in and dig the foundation and disturb that area again. So you wouldn't need to necessarily do permanent vegetation if you're going to rebuild right away.
This is a good representation of what an erosion control log looks like. It's filled with straw, surrounded by a fabric. And this is what a proper installation of the erosion log looks like. As you can see, we've got it staked in here. There's overlap of the erosion control logs. That way, if rain's coming down the slope, it doesn't get behind the next log and it keeps it going and staying on the lot. The other thing is it's embedded next to the sidewalk. That way nothing's going to float underneath it. So this is a really good example of a properly staked, properly in place erosion log. In contrast to a properly staked in erosion log system, as you can see across the street here on this lot, we have problems with the erosion control in the way that the log is not staked. There's gaps in between the logs. And here you can see where the mulch is actually exiting the lot and entering onto the sidewalk. And that's a classic case of what not to do with an erosion log.
Here's an example of some wood mulch that is not highly recommended in this area. The downside to it is it'll travel and flows to adjacent property owners or out into the public right-of-way, and there's nothing to hold it down, such as the tackifiers we talked about earlier. It needs to be either a hay crimp mulch or a hydroseed with tackifier to hold it in place to stabilize the site.
The city's understanding is that the insurance company pays a percentage of the cost to provide erosion and sediment control on the lot. And this is part of the overall wrecking and debris removal.
There's many qualified erosion control contractors in the area. If you need help finding one that's qualified, you can either look on the city's website at springsgov.com or you can call city engineering at 385-5540.
In order for the homeowner to protect their lot from somebody else's flow entering their lot, we recommend that they consult with an engineer or in combination actually with a qualified sediment and erosion control contractor in order to find ways to prevent that flow from negatively impacting their lot.
The city will inspect each individual lot for erosion sediment control, and that'll be at the wrecking permit final stage. The city engineering will be contacted at 385-5540 by the responsible party that has pulled the wrecking permit.